G'day YouTube, welcome back to my channel Bonsai Works. I'm David. Today we've got a couple of late repots I have to do for a friend of mine. Now these two trees are, one's a Japanese maple, one's a trident maple, and this is the Japanese maple. You can see it's quite a nice little tree. It's not too nice and slender. It's got some nice movement. That's the back of the tree. It has a very nice, unusual colour trunk. It's a red trunk. It's quite nice, quite interesting. It's got red branching, so it could be a variety. I'm not sure, 100% sure of. Looks like there might be a graft down here. At some stage was done, but this tree hasn't been repotted for a number of years, and it's desperately needed a repot. So I'll be getting along and doing that repot today for them. Really nice tree. It's a really nice bark tree. Red. It's got a red tinge to it. Sometimes orangey. It's not that typical Japanese maple green bark, so that's a real feature. Not going to change too much, just going to repot it. I'm not sure this soil, what it's like, so that's probably the intriguing part. But usually with deciduous trees, I fully wash the soil off the roots, so fully bare root them. To get them into new soil and fresh and ready to go. So I won't be changing too much with the tree. I won't change anything. I will give it a little trim. You can see how long these have gotten. And with maples, or Japanese maples especially, when you repot, I've been told, and I've seen it, when you repot and cut the roots, you can also then go and trim the branching, the twigs, and you won't get any bleed from the branches, which can happen at this time of year if you go ahead and cut them. So another important point. So there you go. So this is the Japanese maple I'll be repotting. You know the standard process, standard thing, but this is not my tree, so I'm not 100% sure what it's going to look like underneath. So well, let's have a look. I'm just going to cut it where the wires, and then I'll show you what the roots look like. Let's have a look. It should just come straight out. Yeah, I thought it would. It's pretty healthy, it looks pretty healthy. It's been there for a while. Oh, nice and healthy. Very, very healthy. So, nice, clean, easy to pull out root system. Very easy. Probably a little bit wet, a little bit moist, probably. It's not too bad actually. I can't complain here, it's actually pretty good. Probably just needs a repot. It's probably due. It's probably been there too long in this pot, and ready to be repotted pretty much. That's it. The roots look really good. Just get the pot ready. So you can see it's just a little bit moist, a little bit wet, but that's fine. So I'll just go through the process of coming all these out, coming the roots out, and I'll give it a good wash, and then see how we go. Just got to get my root hooked up, and we'll work my way around. Now, you can fast forward this if you've seen this before, but for the new people, it's falling apart really well, so it's a nice open mix. When you've got a nice open mix, easier to do, easier to work with soil. When you've got a really fine mix, it's very cloggy and clogs up the soil quite badly. So one thing I just want to show you quickly is when you get to a point of this point before I wash it out, which I'm planning to do, is that pretty much you can start to cut the roots back. So all these ones, I like to hold it up, straight up, come it as much as you can. Because you're not going to use these really long ones anymore. So we're going to get rid of those. Holding it up, you're cutting into a flat plane. And that's pretty much what I'll be removing. Not too much more than that, to be honest. Now I'm going to give it a nice hose off, really get into it, really clean it up, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Alright everyone, so I've done the best job I can. There's still some large particles in there, which is fine. I'm not going to get all that out, but I've done the best I could. Probably one of the most painful jobs is trying and pull these weeds out. Like you can see these white, fibrous, kind of like very flimsy looking roots and stuff, and they're just weeds. I'll try and get as much of that out as possible. This is your chance to get it out of the root system, very important. I went around and gave it a little trim again. Now I've just prepared the pot again, and I've made a mound in the middle. as you know, as you've seen in my other videos. Now just look at the tree and try to get it in the right position. It's just a matter of looking and observing. So this kind of the tree, because it's coming on this kind of a bend, I put it a little bit more to this side of the pot, so that then the tree can come back and finish in the middle. And that's the plan. Pretty easy, nothing too hard with this tree. Just going to tie it in. This definitely needs to be tied in. So tie it in nice and tight. I'll use my pliers to do the work there. Good thing here on this side is I can go underneath the root, and this wire can be kind of hidden, which is good. Unfortunately this one you're going to have to see, but for now you can wire it in and leave it as it is. So, always important to tie your trees in so they don't move, especially after you've just repotted them, because you don't want the new roots to be blown around when the wind picks up. Easy, probably can't tell because it's a bit high, but pretty easy, tied in. I'm going to go and fill this up with soil now. It's pretty much put the soil in and work it in with chopsticks. Work it in with the chopsticks into all the grooves, in the gaps, and then give it a good watering, clean, and it's ready. And once I'll show you the finished product of this, and then we'll work on the trident maple that I've got. All right, I'll be back in a minute. All right, team. So here's the Japanese maple repotted, cleaned up, cleaned the pot a bit as well. It's looking nice tree. Comes forward, so it's coming forward towards you, which is what you want. But now it needs definitely overgrown. I want to give it a bit of a trim, just to help the owner, because the growing season is coming and you want to make sure you got nice ramified branches. So I'm going to come back and slowly go through and cut back a lot of the shoots. Don't go nuts, just coming back to, like first nodes. And you can do it on maples this time of year. I have to try and get I'm going to have to try and do a close-up or something, but if you can make out, there's this huge, trying to show you there, huge long branch. Can't be like that. Come back, right back to something closer in, about there. You want to reduce as much as you can without going too insane. You don't want to go like a hedge. You want to really go through it and pick out. Come back, just keep cutting back. If there's a really long internode, cut back to the next bud. So for example, see how long that internode, see how long that plain bit is? It's not worthwhile. You want something really close, so cut back to a node, cut back to a bud, sorry. And you just keep going through it. I would sit there, usually take my time, but you can see what I'm trying to get at. So that's what I'm going to go do throughout the tree, get it really pushed back in. Some things are way too overgrown. Won't look hugely different to a lot of people, but it's just the subtle things, just to prepare it for the coming growing season. Just make sure it's ready to really flush out, get some nice ramification going, and ready to go and ready to fill out. So, guys, I'm going to leave you there. I'll just leave you there with that tree, but all I'm going to do is keep cutting it back. And I'll just show you the final product in about a few minutes. So, I don't know if you guys can see the difference, but you can see there's an issue. I was cutting back the tree, and guess what? I found the top had all died off. So this is all died off, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to try and explain what needs to happen in the future with this tree. I was wondering why there's so many young little shoots that are shooting in around there. I didn't really take a close look, but have a close look at trees before you do anything. Yeah, the top had died out. And all these nice little young shoots have been shooting up around that area, so that's good news. So it looked like we're going to have to regrow the top on this. Could have been just because it got too much sun, got a bit of sunburn and killed off the top. Usually that's what happens with maples of a fragile, like a different species like this. So that could be possible, one of the possibilities of what happened there. But anyway, it is what it is. We got it in time and we cut it back, and now it's just a matter of recovering. So we'll see what happens in the future. But that's what it looks like, a little bit trimmed back. Some wiring's probably needed on the tree, just a bit, just to get some certain branches a bit better placed, but that's about it. There's that Japanese maple repotted. And here's the trident maple. It's a root over rock. It's quite nice in the sense that this area here is quite nice root. Unfortunately, the back lacks the roots on it. It does have one that's kind of holding on, but definitely that's all in one position. So that's really nice. It's a nice old tree actually. It's coming along really well. Needs work. The branching needs a lot of work, but it's getting there. I'd love to have this in my collection too. It's a nice root overall. Root on the rock, root, yeah, it's really, the rock blends with the root, looks really good. Looks like it had some dieback over the years, but it's recovering quite nicely now. Yeah, I've already cut the wire off it. I'm just going to get it out of the pot. Hopefully it comes out nice and easy. I'm sure. Like tridents, if it's been there too long, can you see that? It's been there a while. I don't know what's with the green rocks, but you must have liked green rocks. I'll just put that aside. Yeah, you can see that nice healthy root system, really full of roots. Amazing, it's really good, but again, seems to be very waterlogged a little bit, meaning the soil's really breaking down quite extensively. So I'll have to put I've got to pull these the screening off the holes. They all came out. They're all grown into the tree and came out with the pot. So that's pretty okay. We're going to deal with that. Now with this guy, sometimes it's just so thick and heavy. I'm just going to pull with my hands almost. No point combing it out because with tridents you can almost just cut them straight off the tree. Now I'll show you what I mean. Like this. Like I'm pulling with my hands, but I can really, ideally I can actually go and just cut right around it. It's a bit, I do feel that the soil is quite broken down. Inside it's quite muddy in a way. It's very, it's kind of gluggy, so it definitely needs to be repot. It needs to definitely be washed quite nicely. And really healthy roots, there's a lot of roots, really healthy. So no problems with the health of this tree. It's actually looking quite a nice tree. Sometimes I get to a point where this is so thick, I'm just going to cut in. I'm just going to come in and cut it right off. Nice big thick heavy shears, nice and sharp. Just go for it. You know you're going to cut them off anyway. You might as well do it this way. It's almost like cutting a slab out of the roots. So you see the difference. They probably haven't been repotted at the same time for the same duration, like the Japanese maple and the trident. And look at the difference in root. I mean, the root growth is quite significantly different. That's why tridents you could probably be more aggressive, whereas Japanese maple probably not as. But the regrowth structure, the regrowth of roots is quite different. It's a good example. They've both been repotted at the same time. I pretty much didn't even come in out. I just came in with my root shears and started cutting away. And tridents can take that punishment, I guess. You can go even harder. I know people go even harder than what I do on tridents. But this guy needs it. This guy really needs it. It definitely needs to be reduced. And it's just one big pad right now. Have to get in there a bit more. Look at that. Quickly achieve that. That's just the massive roots and glug. So that's got to be chucked out. But I'm going to go and wash this off and go back and have a look at it, okay? Alright everyone, so the tree, there's not much roots you can see. They took a bit of a punishment. But again, tridents are quite resilient and you're not going to have any problems doing with that. So I have noticed, I want to try and maybe change the angle, not totally, but I like how it's leaning and it gives a nice feature. I'm trying to see if there's a better angle for the tree. So it definitely needs to show this big heavy root. Just trying to think, can I show both roots a bit better? Try and work with that. By mounding the soil underneath certain sections, you get a better, angle. And if I do it too much like that, it doesn't look right. If I angle it more down, it looks good. I just want to avoid this part here being so straight. It's quite straight. I need it to go on a bit more of an angle, so unfortunately it is going to have to go quite on the angle like that, I think. It's going to be tricky. I've got to wire it in, make sure it doesn't move around, but to also make sure it holds firmly, is getting soil mounded up underneath it just to keep it stable, and then work it in. So that's about pretty good there, I think. I'm just going to tie it in over here for now and see if it holds well. And then I'm going to adjust it by putting soil underneath certain spots so it can actually hold better. Okay, it's pretty good, holding nicely. I just need it to lean over a bit more, so I'm going to try and get some soil underneath there and push it upwards. See? So there you go. So that doesn't make that as straight, it's a little bit more tilted now. And I want it to come forward, so get a bit of soil underneath here. And tuck it underneath. So that's looking a bit better. Come back and tighten it up a bit more. Play around with it, so it's looking nice at that angle, I think, for now. I'll play around with it a bit more, just get it right. There you go, something like that. So a bit more slanting. Tried to get rid of that totally straight part, just a little bit that way. It's a bit hard to defeat that, but it is what it is. It'd be nice if this had a better, like a crescent pot. I think it would look really good in it with this tree, but I don't have one of those, and neither do they, so not much we can do there. But there you go, that's how I would envision the tree to look. Now it's a matter of just filling it up with soil and repotting. So I'll do that again, and I'll come back and show you the final product. Also, I'll give it a little trim up as well and get it all nice and clean and presentable. Okay, thanks. Right, so after we've cleaned the pot, repotted it, watered it, you see what the tree looks like. It's still way too overgrown. I'm going to give it a trim. I put his little mud man. He's got a little mud man that he wanted, so put that back in there. But for some things that I really need to, I'm going to start reducing some of these really long branches. It just doesn't. Anything that's gone beyond the ramification outline, I'm just trying to deal with you guys seeing the front, so you can see how much I'm trying to remove. So for example, see how long this is, cut back to at least where I can see a nice healthy node. Could go more, but I can't see anything back there, so I'm just not cutting all the way back. Just going to give it a turn to me so I can have a look now. Just wanted to show you what the process was. So cutting back to, closer growth to the trunk. You want it more compact. You want to try and get it ramified more. Does look a bit bare, but come spring, I think it'll fill out really nicely now. I'm going to do some wiring on it maybe one day. So it looks a lot better. So I've cleaned it up a little. As I said, there are long internodes that we can't do anything about sometimes, but let's try. let's reduce things. There's a few gaps here, but they'll fill out nicely. So we'll finish off this tree pretty much with a light, there's just a light trim. I'm always seeing more and more. Finish off this tree with a light trim, repot, you know, now it's ready for the spring season. So there you go, that's what roughly you would do. I'll keep tweaking a little bit more, I think a little bit more has to come off it. But that's pretty much it. Repotted, repositioned, new soil, wash the soil, cleaned it up, give it a little trim, ready for spring. Cool. Alright, so that's 2 trees repotted and cleaned up. So that's something I do for people as well. So, you know, hopefully they're happy with my results and good looking tree. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back with more videos in the near future. See you soon.